All right, this is Nothing But Anarchy. I'm Chad Sanders, your host. We are in, you can't even tell, but I'm just going to tell you. We're in a different studio today. So we started the show a little bit late because we had some setup stuff to do here. But thank you. It's okay. Uh, sometimes you wait for a special performance. And this is going to be a special performance because this should be a holiday in podcasting. This should be a holiday in content land. The day after a Cat Williams interview should have its own, it should have like its own moniker, its own name. I'll come up with something clever for it to be later, but let's subscribe at Chad Sand on Instagram, share the show with your friends, rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. We got merch at the link in my bio, all the stuff that you guys know. I want to get into this because I was walking around Queens yesterday with my dog, as I do when I'm trying to, tire out my dog who has a lot of energy. But that is where, when I'm lucky on those walks, when I'm clear, when I have done the work to be available to inspiration, sometimes I get lightning bolts on those walks. That's where the name for this show came from, was on one of those walks where I was looking for the name for an NBA show where I really wanted to just talk about like the underlayers of sports and some of the social dynamics that live therein, some of the social poisons and toxins therein. And the name came to me, Nothing But Anarchy. That is where I got the idea for something else that we're going to talk about later on, which is a project that I'm launching next month that I'm going to be looking for a name for. Hopefully I will get a good name for it soon. But whatever, I'm on that walk. I get a text from Leon, my boy, who was on here last week. We were talking about Leave the World Behind and some other things. And he was like, yo, I forgot exactly what he said, but he's like, there's a Cat Williams interview. And that is a special bat signal to a person like me who has to believe that there are, I'm saying two, but truly there are probably infinite number, but I'm just going to say there are two lanes that you can go down in pursuit of entertainment, creative performance as a career path. And I think that those two lanes are described and portrayed well throughout this entire interview. But if I want to apply faces to them, this is going to be a little spicy. If I want to apply faces to them, for the moment, let's go with Cat Williams and Kevin Hart. Because that's what Cat Williams has offered to us in this interview. Cat Williams is sitting across from Shannon Sharpe, which in and of itself is spectacle because Shannon Sharpe is 6'4", muscle bound, jacked, wearing, sort of like a almost skin tight, figure laying, looking very expensive cloth, where you can see like all of his muscular physique. He is the host of Club Shay Shay. I have my own critiques of Shannon. I think he is walking down the Kevin Hart path as it is, and we'll talk about exactly what that path is. And then across from him, sitting just 2 feet away from him, in his Cat Williams-esque garb, and I'm wearing an outfit today that I think is in the spirit of sort of like the Cat Williams vibe, as I would do it, not as exactly as he does. He's from Ohio. I'm from Maryland. Like, we're different people, but Cat Williams is sitting there. And he is all of probably 5'5", I would guess 135 pounds, graying hair and features, and looking like he has probably smoked, 5 blunts already this morning, but razor sharp, as he always is. Like, his mind is sharp. His mind is clicking. And the interview already has almost 5 million views in less than 24 hours. It is doing fantastic numbers for Shannon. I think it's going to reverberate into the rest of the year. Like, I think comedians are going to come on and give their takes on Kevin's takes, and it's just going to have that media swell of amplification that you're always looking for if you're in the media business. And in a very, very, in our own world, which we are building right now, I am starting to watch our own content start to find its own amplification. Like, I'm starting to see more and more people watching our reels, more and more people sharing our stuff. I can look at the back end that Instagram gives me as a blue check, which shows me in great detail, like, all the ways that people are sharing and looking at our content. And so the first thought I had when I looked and started this interview and noticed that it was trending #1 on Twitter was, this is going to be amazing for Shannon's show, no matter how it goes, no matter what was said, no matter what light Shannon is painted in this interview. Like, this is great for Shannon's show. And let's just set that aside for a second. All right, let's talk about Two Lanes. I want to start by playing 2 clips. The first clip is going to be Cat Williams talking about Kevin Hart, and the second clip is going to be Kevin Hart on The Breakfast Club talking about Cat Williams. So let's start with the Cat Williams clip, please.
Never performed at the Comedy Store at all. Tiffany was only seen at the Laugh Factory. In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation at any comedy club. He already had his deals when he got here. Have we heard of a comedian that came to L.A. and in his first year in L.A. he had his own sitcom on network television and had his own movie called Soul Plane that he was leading? No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is? Maybe people don't understand the definitions of these words. He just did his documentary with Chris Rock where he shows you that his whole upbringing in comedy was on the East Coast.
Yeah, it was.
So how simultaneously was he here in Los Angeles doing the same thing?
Okay, can we stop it right there? All right. I'm starting here. I wrote down 10 things from this interview that I found to be the most interesting or most important things that Cat Williams says. And this one is at the top. It is underlined. This to me is the part, like, this, in my opinion, as someone who means to be subversive, like, that is a part of what I do. As someone who wants to play the role of storyteller, truth teller, right? Comedians live in that lane. And within that particular lane, I think it's so easy. I want to be really clear about this. I think it's very easy for people to dismiss Cat Williams. I used to dismiss Cat Williams because I was like, I'll say it super plain. He was all the things that people judge about black people. He's all the things that black people judge about other black people. And it was easy to dismiss his voice as, like, on that other side of the line. Like, that's gross, right? But I'm saying it out loud, and you also know that you do it. Now, I have since become more interested in what Cat Williams has to say, particularly when he's not doing stand-up, but when he's doing interviews, because I think he does something that so many people who consider themselves bold wish that they could do, which is break the fourth wall, tell you what's actually going on in these rooms, in these industries, without, I'm talking about saying names and faces, and he's calling out Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Tiffany Haddish, like, he's going down the line and Harvey Weinstein, like, you name it. If he thinks that they have done something nefarious or something undermining or something grotesque, he is saying it out loud, and you can hear, I love the clip because you can hear his clarity. Like, you can hear, the truth is unknowable. Whether or not someone's telling the truth, I can never know that, but I can tell when someone's saying something that they believe to be true. That's how he sounds throughout this entire interview. Like, it's coming from inside him, through him, into the microphone. Let's talk about what he's actually saying, though. Industry plants. Industry plants, we have turned into the boogeyman, right? We've turned them into Santa Claus. We've turned them into something that is folklore, which, and in doing so, I think we have taken away from what is actually real in the conversation around industry plants. We have made industry plants sound like, across music, entertainment, even like in the tech world, there used to be like this industry plant jargon or conversation around how did so-and-so become a CEO? He's an industry plant. Amazon is a secret investor in this company, so they just put him at the top of it so they can puppet him. People say it about media figures all the time. People call Stephen A. Smith an industry plant. Let's talk about what an industry plant when we say it and we sensationalize it and we make it sound like it's just so ridiculously powerful in a way that is outrageous, we reduce the value of like what an industry plant actually is. There is such a real thing as an industry plant. I'm going to describe what it is right now. I'm going to describe it in the vein of what we are building right here. So, right now, a big part of this media entity that we are building, Nothing But Anarchy, is that we do the show, we rent studio time in a studio space, we do the show, we cut up little clips of it, we distribute them on YouTube and Twitter, and Instagram is the most valuable property to us right now. TikTok, we're there too. But Instagram is where most of my following is. And then, as the Dave Chappelle clip is doing, it's got about like 16,000 views in the last, I want to say like 12 to 18 hours. We see which ones are doing well. And then I take money out of my own little piggy bank, like $10, $20, and I say, okay, for the next 4 days, Instagram, I want you to show this to whoever you think might like it. This is how the algorithm works. You pay the algorithm, you say, hey algorithm, show this to other people who might like this thing. It already showed that it had some value with my audience. Let's see if there's a greater audience out there. And I specifically tell the algorithm, I don't know if this is news to anybody, maybe you guys all know this. I didn't know this 7 months ago. I get to choose. Okay, algorithm. The algorithm, the Instagram tells me, okay, you can choose to send this traffic, the people that like this, you can send them to a website, you can send them to your profile, or you can send them to some third place, which I can't remember. And generally speaking, I either send them to the podcast or I send them to my profile. Over time, what I'm watching happen, just on like $10, $20 a day on these things, I'm watching new people who never heard of me show up because they want to see more of what I have, because I'm feeding the algorithm little sprinkles of what I can afford, which is like not a lot, okay? $10, $20, $30 here and there. If I had a daily budget of $3,000 to pay into that algorithm, because my content is dope, I would be able to reach tens of thousands of people a day who would want to follow along and see more of what we're building. And from there, I can sell them other stuff. I can send them a yearbook. I can sell them merchandise. I can sell them digital properties. They will subscribe to my Substack, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? That's how it works, okay? So remember, the formula is no matter how good or bad your product is, like if you have more money to show it to people, you have a greater opportunity to elevate as an entity. An industry plant, like let's just keep it really focused in here. An industry plant is just somebody who has a large bankroll that somebody else gave them to feed into that system, which exists everywhere. That's just paid marketing. Like that's what it is. What Cat Williams is saying is that Kevin Hart is somebody who on the front end of his journey, instead of taking the Cat Williams path, which is I'm going to piece all this shit together. I'm going to do the Chitlin circuit. Then I'm going to do 100 tour dates. Then I'm going to put my own posters and flyers and shit up. I'm going to hire a team. I'm going to invest my own money back into this thing so that I don't have to sell away my words. So I don't have to sell away my voice. I was watching Kevin Hart on the Manning brothers, telecast on ESPN2 during a football game. And somebody asked him, who the fuck was that asked him this? We talked about it. Who asked him about Josh Giddey? Can somebody remember? I got to say it clearly because we need it for the real. It was a comedian. Shit. It was some Cat Williams-esque person. Please, Morgan, do you have it?
I'm looking.
Who was it? Come on.
Patrick Beverly?
Yes!
Okay.
Pat Beverly, also an anarchist, on that Manning telecast, he looks with that Pat Beverly look that he be having. He looks at Kevin Hart And he's like, so, I'm paraphrasing, what do you think about this Josh Giddey shit? If you remember, the Josh Giddey situation is there is a current NBA player playing every other night for the Oklahoma City Thunder who is currently accused of having sex with an underage girl, okay? And Kevin Hart says, he mumbles, stumbles. Do you have the quote there, Morgan, or should I just paraphrase?
Of the thing, no.
Of what Kevin, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Kevin Hart says in so many words, hey man, I ain't talking about that. I got sponsors. Like, basically that, okay? What Cat Williams is saying, I'm sorry that I'm taking so much time to get here because this is the whole, to me, this is the whole thing. This is why I wish I could turn this camera around so you guys could see what's going on in here. This is why we're doing it like this and not at a Viacom studio, okay? This is why we're doing it like this. Can I turn this camera around? We'll cut in a shot of it later, Morgan. If you can you remember that? Keep taking note of that. Like, this is why you do it the ski mask way, so that when somebody asks you a real question that has a substantive answer and you have a voice and you have a platform, so that you do not sit up there and say, my name is Bennett and I'm not in it. Because you're not worried, like, nobody can take the check back that puts you in that position in the first place. Nobody can do that to me. Like, I ain't got $1 million, but I'm doing pretty good. Like, I don't have, I don't have $1 million as a budget for this show. I don't have $100,000 to spend every week on marketing, but like, I can invest my own shit back into this because what I cannot sell away, which is what Cat Williams is saying throughout this interview. He's saying it to Steve Harvey. He's saying it to Cedric the Entertainer. He's saying it to Harvey Weinstein. He's saying it to Kevin Hart. Saying it to the next person, the next person, the next person is what I cannot sell away is my impulse to say what I have to say when I have to say it. Those are two divergent roads. There's the Kevin Hart road where you take the money, you take the sponsor, you take the movie opportunity, and you trade, in doing so, you trade your creative power to have autonomy over your words in every situation. And there's this other road. And I'm not glorifying Cat Williams as like, I don't know Cat Williams' personal life. I don't know if he's been it's 2024, and so I'm not gonna say I'm not pledging allegiance to anybody because I know the next thing that comes is y'all will be like, well, in 2014 he did this thing, and in 2003 he did that thing. I'm fine. That's not the point I'm making here. The point I'm making here is there are two paths. There's the path where you take the money, the easy money, and you sell away your words and you sell away what you have to say, and then there's the path that is this path. This is the Cat Williams path. This is the Gucci Man path. This is the brown paper bag path, okay? This is the path where you make $50 and you invest $50 back into your thing because you got to build it brick by brick, inch by inch. And the truth is, and this part is, to me, a revelation of the last few years. I don't even think you choose which one is for you. I think that is a choice that has been made for you already. You are either this type of person or that type of person. I told you guys a few years ago, somebody who I would be sick right now if I had taken the money. Somebody said, I know you're broke. I got $250,000 a year for you for the next 2 years so that everything that you do creatively belongs to me. And I needed that money so bad. I cannot tell y'all how bad I need that money. It took me years to get back to that kind of money opportunity. But I just not because of some sort of rational calculation. I had no spreadsheet. It wasn't like I wasn't looking at a forecast. I didn't have all these deals in front of me. I was just like, quite literally, my body cannot say yes to it. It's not in my chemistry. And I think that there are people who can do that, like Kevin Hart, and I think there are people who can't do that, like Cat Williams. And Cat Williams is making that point over and over and over throughout the internet and throughout the interview, and he's hilarious while doing it. Can we play the Kevin Hart clip?
Yep.
Because this I don't want to. This is not going to be a one-sided. I want to tell y'all something about the other path and how they see people on my path.
My frustration with Cat Williams comes from you keep pointing at Hollywood. Hollywood this, the white man, this, and this. When do you take responsibility for your actions? You had the shot.
Cat was in that position at one point.
You were the guy.
Yeah.
You were set up to be the star. You didn't show up to work. You fucked off promo shoots. You fucked off your promo fucking trips that they had set up for you. You became a risk to the studios, which is why the studios stopped fucking with you.
Why was he a risk?
He chose drugs.
Oh, okay.
Take responsibility for what you chose and say, you know what, I gotta fix me, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna stand up for comedy. So when you say Tiffany Haddish doesn't deserve or isn't really a comedian and these other women have worked hard, which they have. Shouts out to Melanie Camacho. Shouts out to Lunel. Shouts out to Leslie Jones, who are all underneath the umbrella of Cat Williams. Cat Williams, have you ever used your platform to fucking bring the people that were under you up? You haven't. So because you haven't, don't shit on those that now are. I've used my platform and I brought my guys and girls up. The brand of Kevin Hart is a brand that's expanded so fucking far, whether you like me or not. My presence in comedy will forever be felt because I'm a fucking boss. I sit on the top of it, and the opportunities I'm giving are the ones that I'm creating. So take responsibility
All
for
right, we
what
can cut
you
it.
did.
All right. There's a lot said there. There's a lot of self-aggrandizing going on in that clip. There's a lot of Charlamagne going, But the most important thing that he says is at the beginning, which is Cat Williams had a chance to be in the Kevin Hart slot. And for all intents and purposes, I think that's true. And Kevin Hart is spelling it out clearly. He's like, you're the one that showed up for work. You're the one that was a headache to the studios. You're the one who did this, that, and the third. Like, and he's saying it in a way that is critical. This is the litmus test right here. If you think somebody being at odds with studios makes them a burnout, makes them a flunky, makes them a problem child, that is a way of looking at the world where the job of the person who has an opportunity is to make themselves aligned with power. And that is quite literally, I think, the fastest way to get somewhere. I'm just going to call a spade because I like movies and I like dope art. If what you're solving for is speed, you can be Kevin Hart, which means you will make $20 million movies and you will never make a good fucking movie. That applies to every industry. If you want speed, speed is something to solve for. Like, speed you can have. And you will not make something dope. You will lay awake at night still wondering, when am I going to do my fire shit? When are they going to see me for how great I am? Because, like, they can see you, but they see you as McDonald's. They see you as Cheesecake Factory. They don't see you as Rolos. You guys don't even know what that is. You're not hip. But this is my point. Like, this is my point of everything, which is like, intention matters. When I hear Cat Williams in that interview talking about touring 100 stops in America from Shreveport, Louisiana to Chitlin Circuit spots in Alabama, Denver, Colorado, Wyoming, Los Angeles, Detroit, Oakland, and having sold out shows in that room with nobody else holding the puppet strings, and he gets to talk to black folks, white folks, Latin folks, Asian folks, Indian folks, everybody. He gets to talk to Republicans and Democrats and independents and conservatives and liberals, and he gets to just see the people. And then he gets to go do that in the rest of the world, and he never has to look back and check with somebody and be like, yo, am I doing okay? Like, here's your kickback, you know, thank you so much for giving me this opportunity. Did I say the wrong thing? Did I call it the wrong person? Somebody asked me about an underage girl and an NBA player. I didn't say nothing. That's what I'm supposed to do, right? Never having to do that and still getting to go live that dream. And instead of being Kevin Hart with 100 million zillion Instagram followers or whatever, you're Cat Williams, and you have like real world notoriety. That is the dream to me. That is my dream. Like, that's it. And I never have to go on an interview and tell a lie, and I never have to go say somebody's dope who's a fuckboy. That's the fucking dream. All right, we're gonna go. I think we got it in there. Morgan, do you understand what the point is here?
Yes.
There are divergent paths. You can do it that other way. And I'm sorry. Morgan told me, we had a phone call. She was like, when the segment is over, it's over. You move on to the next segment. And I'm going to do that. Morgan sent me a 1 minute and 15-second voice note to say that. And she could have said it in like 10 seconds, but she doesn't want to upset me, which I appreciate. But it's okay, Morgan. You're the boss. You are Captain Morgan. Okay. All I want to say is, this part's personal. Most of my friends who work in this industry are taking the Kevin Hart path. And in their own ways, in private, with each other, in little conversations where I can't, he's my friend, so I still love him, but I know what time it is. In little conversations where I haven't been able to hear them, they judged me for being hard-headed and ornery in doing it this other way. And like I said, I still love y'all, but that hurt my feelings. And everybody's path is not for everybody. Like, if you, I'm gonna say it how I actually mean it, which is, if you don't have the stomach for the Cat Williams path, then try the Kevin Hart path. But you will pay the troll toll your whole freaking life. I've met Kevin Hart. I've never met Cat Williams, but that's it. When we come back, all right, so this is what we're gonna do. We're going to do the segment break. When we come back, I'm gonna quickly shoot off 10 things from the from the Cat Williams interview that I liked. I'm literally just going to agree or disagree with what he says. I'm gonna make it so snappy and quick because I think we can get 2 good reels out of this one because it's so buzzy. I think we can take that first spiel and set up the divergent pass thing as 1 reel, and then I think we can also do a fun, like, quick, like, zing. These are the 10 things Kevin Hart. Blah! I wish their names started with different letters. These are 10 things, and I wish that one of them were over 5'10". These are the 10 things that Cat Williams said that stuck with me the most from that interview. And I could have done 30, but, like, there's 10. Okay? All right, can we play some music?
Yep.
And then after that, we're going to talk about...
I just muted.
All right. Let me make sure I actually have 10. All right. So I got industry... All right, here are 10 things that Cat Williams said in that interview that they're not all quotes, but they are points that were made that I just want to respond to quickly. Because again, I do think that outside of my particular corners of the internet, I think that many people will write off this conversation between an ex-football player and Cat Williams as if like this is some sort of lower form of conversation, but there is quite salient information there, man. There's information everywhere. All right. Start with number one. I already hit on it, but like industry plants, are they real or not? Like, yes, of course they're real. If you give me and somebody else who has the exact same talent, creative level, output, etc. as me, if you give one or the other of us a $1 million marketing budget over the next year, like you have no idea how big I would make this thing over the course of that year with that budget. But the question is just like, what would it cost me? What would those strings cost me? You keep saying over and over that Cat Williams says over and over, there's a cabal in Hollywood. There is a group. There are many, he says actually, but there are these little factions of people who are moving as he speaks openly about like the Illuminati and I don't know, other groups of power players that move things around. But like there are also those. At some point, I'm just going to own it. Like, me and the 45 to 60-year-old crowd, we don't see eye to eye in my industry. Because all that stuff that they be preaching about pulling people up and opening doors and all that other stuff, like, those are talking points. Like, that's marketing. That has not been what I have seen in my experience. I have named the people who actually have opened doors for me. But there are 2 of those people or 3 of those people for every 100 people who have known exactly who I am, what I could do, and chosen to see me as competition instead of as somebody who they could mentor or they could open a door for, or they could partner with to get to make 1 + 1 = 3. So he's right. There are cabals in Hollywood, and they do act to keep people out of certain places. This is a good one. Cat Williams. First name basis comedian, world-renowned known comedian is saying rape's not funny. He's like, that's not funny. He says it. He's just like, they tried to get me to do a rape scene in I think it was in Friday, and he's just like, at that point he was early in his career, this was his big shot, and he had to ask kind of with his hat in hand, can we please not do this? Black people getting raped is not funny. And the studio said, okay, we'll take it out. Couldn't agree more, man. Rape's it's just literally not funny. I think a comedian's telling you that. It's true.
Friday After Next was the movie.
Friday After Next. Thank you. This one was spicy. He said it several times over and over. He said that the Hollywood success starter kit for black people, black men specifically, is you get fame, you get money, and you are distributed. I literally want to close my eyes when I say this because it is such a gross corner of a conversation that is so scary for me to even stick my toe in. But he says, and you get a weird faced, light skinned wife. He said it so many times. I can't even look at the camera. He said it several times, and you all know what he's talking about. Like, you all know what he's talking about. Here's how I can say it in a way that is not gross, which is pattern matching in the dating pool in Hollywood is so cookie cutter. Like it is like to a height, skin tone, facial feature, body type, hairstyle, smell, scent, like what worn scents are chosen. It is so like, I remember walking into some of these parties at the beginning of this. I talked about this, where I'd walk into these parties and I could tell I was invisible in a way that was in some ways actually protection for me because I had nothing to offer. Nothing that was valuable in those rooms. I just remember being like, damn, this is so fucked up. But like, I can't tell the difference between these people. Like, I can't tell where one person ends and the next person begins because everybody looks the exact same. It's like someone has issued there are ways people describe these people, and I don't want to get gross with it, but it's like, I said it. It's like the KFC chicken. It's like somebody just chose exactly the type of chicken that we could eat, which is like all breasts and thighs, a certain amount of cooking done to it, and that's it. All right, I've done too much here. I'm moving on. Competition as fuel is a theme in this interview. I spent probably the last 4 years telling myself, do not feel competitive. Competition is a waste of energy. Abundance mindset over scarcity mindset. What are we competing for? There are no scarce resources. And I like it every now and then when I see an interview where someone is just being honest to say, a part of how I knew I could make it, I feel this way. Part of how I knew I could make it was seeing people who couldn't write get writer jobs. Is that mean? Morgan, does that mean?
No, I think that's real.
Yeah, like seeing people who I knew weren't clever or smart.
That's definitely real.
Yeah.
Is that mean though?
No, I feel that way.
That's real.
Yeah.
Like seeing people who I knew couldn't do the thing, like seeing people whose mind I know wasn't quick get TV jobs, get podcasts, get book deals. Like people, like when I say literally people who I knew couldn't write get book deals, I mean people who had to hire book writers to help them write their book. When I do that, because I will do that eventually, I will do it because I don't feel like writing the book. But like, I just wrote my second book. I write my ass off. I saw people who were marketers becoming authors. And that shit, I'm not letting go of that. Like every time I see somebody who I know is not hot get an opportunity, it does it's starting now to work in a more healthy way where I'm like, oh, that must be easier than it looks because look at this fool. All right. You guys said it wasn't mean, so I said it.
No, I agree that one wasn't mean this time.
Okay, great. I'm going to use the mean meter, the Morgan mean meter more. All right, he said this shit. My goal was to get this far in Hollywood with a virgin asshole. He said that without sucking a penis. Now, let's just take sexuality out of it for a second. Like, I think what he means is like, my goal was to get this far in Hollywood without having to do something for someone else that was depraved. Something that was taking from my humanity or my ability to have choice and agency over my body. I mean, and he's being literal, like, because he talks about people in the interview who would do sexual favors for opportunity. I am also here to tell y'all, like, not that I did that, if that's where you thought I was going, but that's also a real thing, obviously. Like, we all know that now, but, like, it's kind of different when you just know it. So, yeah, that's real. He says, I prefer the company of women. No disrespect to these groups of guys who ride around together, but I just prefer to work with women. Ditto. That's easy. Morgan, is that true or false?
It's true.
Ditto. Like, the bar for for me to work with a guy is probably 30 or 40% higher than it is for me to work with a lady. Because there's so much that guys take off the table by being around sometimes. Like, there's so much more navigation of ego. There's so much more, like, sloppiness. Am I being politically incorrect? This
I mean,
feels
I
true.
think women are capable of being sloppy and having big egos, but I guess
yes.
Statistically, I guess.
Guys are just a tougher hang to me. I'm just gonna leave it at that. Yes, women, you are quite capable of being sloppy. Thank you. Morgan is here to stand up for you. Yes, you are also sloppy. Well said, Captain Morgan. All right, I'm just gonna do one more because 10 it feels like too long. Last one. Morgan wanted me to add this one.
No, I really?
You didn't?
I just threw it on there because, okay, fine, sure.
Josh,
I
you
mean,
were
I
here.
guess I did tee it up. Okay,
did
fine.
Morgan or did she not want me to add this one?
Was this right before we got started?
Yes.
Y'all know what I was going through right before we got started.
Oh, no, it wasn't. It was during the break just now about
okay.
Tyler Perry and Ricky Smiley.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Morgan
she
wanted
did.
me to add Tyler Perry and Ricky Smiley. He said, Cat Williams said, can't play a man to save their life. I was watching a Goldman Sachs interview between some 50-year-old white guy executive and Tyler Perry. And it was like meant to be this very serious conversation with Tyler Perry, the titan of media, the billion-dollar man, owner of Tyler Perry Studios down in Atlanta. And they're having this very serious conversation about, this paints the picture so well. They are having this very important conversation about Tyler Perry's career and everything he has built. Yes, Morgan?
Sorry, your phone is just turned.
And like who he is and what he means and who he is as a businessman and his mantras and his discipline and his vision. And they get to like the 40-minute mark of this interview, and this dude wants Tyler Perry to basically do the Medea voice. And I'm like, yo, cautionary tale, man. Like, listen, I'm not Spike. I'm not. Whoever wants to put a dress on, put it on. That's how I feel. This is not about like I have an issue with guys putting on dresses. And I think we have so overcooked that meal as a conversation in our community. It's just a conversation about what it takes for you to get where you're going. Those things don't just go away. Like, Tyler Perry is going to be asked to do the Medea voice. He's got $1 billion. Like, he's going to be asked to do the Medea voice until his last breath. And I can tell while watching that conversation, maybe bookmark this because it could make a good reel for later. I could tell while watching that conversation that Tyler Perry, he didn't want to do it. It felt like if $1 billion doesn't give you the right to just be like, nope, don't feel like it, and don't ask me no more questions about that, or to tell somebody before the interview, like, do not ask me about that. Like, he did not want to do the thing, but he did it in a way that looked like muscle memory pandering, and I was like, man, I don't want to feel like that in an interview at the peak, at the pinnacle of my career. I don't like. What is the point of all this? All right. That's the last one. I'm not doing any more. Did I say the point of that? Cat Williams said Tyler Perry and Ricky Smiley couldn't play a man to save their life.
Yeah.
All right. Which I disagree with. I think Tyler Perry is quite passable as an actor playing men. Okay. That's it. We're going to go away. We're going to come back, and we're going to talk about LeBron James. All right, welcome back to Nothing But Anarchy. That is it for our Cat Williams coverage today. I will not, no backward steps. I will not step backward into that segment for the rest of this show. Morgan, do you have handy the screenshot I took on your phone of the highlighted text? So, not yet. So, I was driving in today. You know what's such a weird phenomenon that I bet we all have is like the muscle memory of app clicking. Just like the muscle memory for me, it's like this rotation of my GChat, my text, my Instagram, occasionally Reddit. It's like a muscle memory of like, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just in overdrive, just like looking through these things, just cycling through these apps. Mm-hmm. And because that's where my communication, like there's some people I text with, a couple of people I GChat with. My Instagram is where I go to like check on the progress of whatever we are putting out into the world. And sometimes those things reveal stuff that you don't really want in your day. Like they bring things that you don't want in your day to you. But this was in a way kind of one of those, but not, excuse me, ew, I'm burping. I'm sorry. Not exactly one of those. So, oh my God. Sorry. I was driving. I looked at GChat. Justin had GChatted me that there was a Shams Charania report about the Lakers locker room. This is as if this were on a schedule. This is, it feels like Shams had this report ready to go and timed for the second that the Lakers went under 500. They went under 500 last night. They're now 3-8, I want to say, since the play-in tournament. Maybe 3-12. I'm sorry, 3 and... They actually might be 3-11. Whatever. They're really bad since the in-season tournament, which they won, not the play-in tournament. I started to listen. I know this. I'm gonna stop doing this to y'all. Honestly, the LeBron James fan experience is bad. I know it is. It sucks. It's not fun anymore. It hasn't been fun for y'all since the bubble. Like, I'm sorry. And every time I know that the LeBron James fan base is in a very sensitive spot, I cannot help myself but to start like flicking things at them. So what I started doing the rounds with yesterday before this Shams report, I saw that they were about to play the Miami Heat without Jimmy Butler. I saw that the Lakers were 500, and I realized, oh shit, the Lakers season might be going in the tank. And Lakers fans have built up LeBron fans have built up like their talking points, their mental resistance to the idea that LeBron's season might be falling apart. They tell themselves, oh, well, you know, we're only at the 40-game mark, and he can still do this, and he can make this move, and he can do this thing, and whatever. But sometimes it's just falling apart. Like, sometimes LeBron goes on vacation, and then that's it. Like, the season's over. So, this time, I was getting in front of what they were going to do once the Lakers went under 500. So, I start texting a couple Lakers fans, and I'm like, hey, it's your pal Chatty. I'm like, hey.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Like, that's my tone, basically. It's like, hey, it's me again. I said, and I believe this, if the Lakers do not make the playoffs this year, that is a really bad look for the in-season tournament. Like, if the winner of your in-season tournament is not in the top, you don't even have to be in the top half of the league to make the playoffs. 20 out of 30 teams make the play-in, and 16 out of 30 teams make the playoffs. Like, that's more than half. You are more likely to make the playoffs than to miss the playoffs, the postseason. If the Lakers are not among those teams and they won the in-season tournament, what value does that in-season tournament have? What does it actually mean? Will anybody care? What do you do with that stupid-ass banner that the Lakers put up that says in-season tournament champs? These guys were literally popping champagne in a locker room 3 weeks ago. Now there is a Shams Charania piece coming out saying that there's turmoil in the locker room because they do not like Darvin Ham's rotations. They don't like the way that he's coaching the team. Let me remind you guys of the important elements here. LeBron James' agent is Rich Paul. Rich Paul's agency is Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports represents none other than Shams Charania, the writer of this piece, the journalist, the journalist. The timing of this thing and the message in this thing they could not be any less opaque. They could not be any more clear. They couldn't be any more transparent. I read the piece. This part was like hilarious. There is no LeBron James quote in the piece. And LeBron James did not speak to the media after yesterday's loss, after last night's loss to the Miami Heat. The quotes in the piece are from Ant Davis and Austin Reeves. And remember, on this show, I told you guys Austin Reeves wasn't like that, and that's fine. LeBron James doesn't have to give a quote because LeBron James has produced an entire piece. Like, Shams Charania is the writer that works for Clutch Sports. Clutch Sports is owned by Rich Paul, who LeBron James has put in position to be Rich Paul. Like, this is, in those ways, this is like a masterclass of owning your story, owning your marketing as a superstar. LeBron James, he is doing that. He is the one who is able to say, okay, now I want something to be said. He might have already said, like, I want Darvin Ham out of here. And so maybe what he needs to do is start laying the breadcrumbs here that say, I want Darvin Ham out of here. And so I need people to know from a respected journalist. Shams Charania is one of the two most respected journalists in NBA basketball. The two are him and Adrian Wojnarowski. I need people to hear a voice that they respect saying that the Lakers do not like what's happening with Darvin Ham as the coach. And LeBron doesn't even have to drop a quote in it. He doesn't even have to put his voice to it because he has Shams Charania's feed as an entire publication of LeBron James's voice. I'm happy to watch the Lakers crash and burn, but that's not as interesting as what I think I'm about to say, which is LeBron James, as a storyteller, I think has mastered the millennial experience, which is, as a generation, we, because I am a millennial, are so much more adept, so much more effective at telling the story of how great we are than of actually being great at something. LeBron James is stretching 4 NBA championships out through story, through documentary, through Shams Charania, through interviews, through The Shop, through being a celebrity, through Space Jam. He is stretching 4 NBA championships out as if they were 17. He is stretching 4 MVPs out as if they were 7. Like, he is great, no doubt. One of the greats, absolutely. Not in conversation with Michael Jordan, but one of the all-time greats. Probably the 2nd or 3rd greatest player of all time. But he is like, as far as telling the story of how great you are as an athlete, he is number 1, and there is no second place. Because this man hired a journalist to tell the story of how he wants things to go and how he wants things to be run. And again, we just talked about this. That's the industry path. That's the popular kids table path. And if you root for that, you're a fucking schmuck. Okay. Let's go to music and then.
Do you want me to read the quote you wanted or no?
What was the quote? Yeah, please read
Or
it.
it's not
'Cause I
really a
don't remember
quote. It was during Davis's availability, James, whose locker is right next to Davis, dressed and left the locker room without speaking with reporters.
That is correct. That is what I am saying. They go 1 game under 500, okay? Remember, dog. Okay, Morgan, you did this. Now I'm back.
No.
Like, remember what his face was like? Do y'all remember how giddy he was about winning the in-season tournament, guys? Something that we don't even know what it is yet. Do you remember him standing next to Adam Silver making jokes about the Vegas franchise, talking about, I know how much the checks are, but my teammates don't, for winning this thing? Like, do you remember? Like, he was basically skipping. He was doing a victory lap around this arena for winning the in-season tournament. Yo, that was like a month ago. Now he's not talking to reporters on the way out of the locker room because why the fuck would he talk to reporters? He has Shams. All right, let's go to music. When we come back, I'm gonna give Morgan an option of what we talk about next because we have a few things to choose from. Oh man, we got like. Well, okay, are we back?
Yeah, we're back.
What Morgan's laughing because I did one of these motions. Like, that's the other thing about Cat Williams, and honestly, like, that's the thing about when you wear shit like this, it makes you more feminine. It just does. Like, it just makes you do shit with your hands. Like, it honestly feels really good. I feel so free. I also was thinking on the way in here, when we do live show, I'm not gonna wear this because now I've worn this, but like, I think I want to wear something like this for the live show, like something kind of like loose and like magical. All right. Okay. First of all, before we move any further, Morgan has a Go-Gurt, and Josh pointed it out, and he was like, "That's the most Morgan head ass thing," and it is. Like, Morgan, you are such a highly describable person. That's what I would say about you. Like, if I have described Morgan 100 times at this point, and it's like so easy to describe her because you're like so 10 toes down. And also, okay, this is a serious question. Don't you take this as a compliment, but it is kind of a compliment. Also, hold on. First of all, let me start here. Come back to compliments. Morgan, you're a very confident person. Yes, would you agree with that?
I would say like fairly.
Fairly?
Yeah.
Okay. I read you as a very confident person.
That's good.
Okay. Well, if you lined up all your friends, let's say you have 100 friends, because you do. Where would you stand? Where would you rank in terms of confidence? Like, actually, like true confidence.
What, I guess in terms of what? Like style, career,
person.
like
as a
person.
human being, I feel confident in who I am. That's the thing.
Oh,
That's
okay.
The mark.
Probably like towards the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like top 10?
Yeah, maybe like top 10, top 15.
Okay, cool. All right. Actually, this is an interesting question because you have you have a cabal of model friends. Are they confident?
Yeah, I feel like they all have like a strong sense of self. I feel like you have to be for that industry.
Gotcha. Now here's the other thing. I've said this before. I gotta say it again. Does it pain you to give me a compliment?
No, it doesn't.
How does it feel when you give me a compliment?
No, it just...
Because you gave me a compliment. I forgot, what was it? You said it a couple days ago.
Oh, I think I said,
You said you make good visuals.
You speak
good visuals.
Yeah, you paint good pictures, yeah.
But every time you give me a compliment, I can feel that you want the moment to pass so fast. It's like
you're the one who told me I can't be complimenting men out here.
What? But not me. Like, I'm your coworker. I'm your fucking partner. Like, it feels like you want to actually write the compliment down and like slide it under my door, and so you can disappear. Like, Okay, I'm just gonna leave it at that. But you would agree that you don't enjoy giving me compliments.
No, I do, but I feel like I want to spread them out. So
Why?
That it's not like.
All right,
know.
that's actually what I want. What were we gonna talk about?
We're gonna talk about my title pitches.
All right. Oh, let's do the title pitches. I think this will segue to that.
Okay. But should we explain why we're doing them?
Yeah, of course. But first, I want to close this out, which is to say that I think that is like. I don't think you're alone in that. I think people feel like they want to spread out their compliments to me, and I want all my compliments bundled. I want them now. I might not like. You might not feel the way that you feel 2 weeks from now. You might not still like me, so like give them to me up front. Okay, whatever.
Okay.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You're not gonna do it. No one is. All right. I'm about to. This is like an anarchy. This is an anarchy treat because I'm about to let the cat out of the bag on something that is technically not going to be announced until Monday. This Monday, which is also my mommy's birthday. Happy birthday, mommy. But I'm about to embark on an exploratory project in the ways that I have explored money and the relationship black entertainers have to money or black leaders, in the ways that I explored lessons learned through hardship that black people use in business, in the ways that I explored one very crazy year of my high school experience in yearbook, in the ways that I explored the concept, not exactly, it's not so similar to how we explored things in Quitters, but like in the way that I do, which I think is like head first, like all limbs in the boat, like we're doing this. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to ask questions that I actually have about this subject matter. Is that on the audio? Are we good?
Yeah.
Somebody flush the toilet.
Something about new space.
It's all good. It's all good. Let me get that off while the toilet's flushing. If you like how I dive into something, I'm going to bring that to, and this is, I like stepping into things that scare me. I like stepping into things that are actually really going on in my life. I'm going to do. Oh my God! If it is on the audio, it's probably going to work.
Don't worry,
we can clip it.
It's not that. It's not that loud.
But I think it might work if we have it. So, I'm gonna do that I'm gonna dive in that way for the concept of love, specifically romantic love. I'm an adult. I feel like there was no point until probably a couple years ago that I could have like maturely and with my head on my shoulders explored this concept in a way that I would feel good about, both artistically and as just like in a humanitarian way, if that makes sense. Like I'm going to explore like all of the edges and corners of romantic love. And this is just what it is. This will be my first time putting one of my projects behind a paywall that I own. It's going to be on a Substack. And it's going to include audio and written elements. It's going to include conversations that I have with other people. Like, this is a super tease. The first conversation is with Nina Gloucester. If any of y'all know who that is, very talented screenwriter, producer in Hollywood, also from my hometown. I also went to college with her. I also went to high school with her. Also went to the prom with her. It is
That's
going.
a nice intro.
I'm going to be asking people to subscribe to something, and so everything I've done to this point has been for free to the consumer, mostly. I mean, like, rap shit is on Max, but like it's been free as far as my exchange with them. Even my project on Audible is free, direct deposit. But this is the first one I'm putting behind a paywall because the way that I'm going to explore it, both in terms of like tactically what it's going to take to pull it off, like the production of it, but also just frankly my own emotional investment in it. Like, I need money. Like, I need money for it. I need money to finance it. Because I don't want to like half step it, and I want to be able to keep it going and growing over time. I'm single. I live in New York City. Probably gonna move to another big city full of, single people. there's a lot going on in my life that I'm learning from right now regarding love and romantic love. And I don't just mean like my life is a party, because it's not. What I really mean is like I am processing, you know, the end of a relationship. I am processing what it looks like, what it would look like to be in a new relationship. I'm processing like what it's like to get to know other people. And I also want to have conversations with people whose point of views on love I respect and admire. In fact, I've had a funny conversation with the person that I'm working with, who's kind of like acting as doing the job of Morgan on that thing. I'm going to stop calling people producers. I'm going to start calling them Morgans. Is that okay with you, Morgan?
Sure. I don't know if other people will feel that way. But...
Don't call me Morgan.
Yeah.
No, not you. I mean, Josh. I'm gonna call them Morgans and Joshes. Like those are. I'm like.
I don't know how those people.
I'm looking
feel.
to hire a new Josh. I'm looking to hire a new Morgan and a new Josh for a different project. Yeah. But
I mean, Morgan's great, but I'm still me.
No. I mean, and you guys do different jobs. Like you guys do completely different jobs. So, but the Morgan job is like, it is like it's like I don't know why I just got the visual of a snake charmer and I'm the snake like coming out of the thing. Like that's kind of the job. It's like you're exercising somebody's somebody's creative output basically. Like that is the job. And that's your own form of creativity. So that anyway, who cares? No. That person doing the job of Morgan, doing her own version of that job. So she's her own person.
Good.
Thank you, Morgan. Why did I start talking about that?
We're going to talk about titles.
Okay, here we go. But there was a specific thing here. All right, fuck it. I'm doing a project on love, and we're going to talk about titles. Because I think I am great at titles. I think I always have a title that's like, boom, that's the title. You kind of know what it is. If you don't, the subtitle tells you exactly what it is. It's catchy. It's quippy. I'm so excited about my book title. Like, Morgan wanted to do this exercise with the book title. I was like, there are no other titles for this book. This book title is so hot. It's going to be so spicy. It's going to, like, people are going to be like, they're going to be like, what the fuck is going on with this book? Like, what is this nigga about to say in here? Anyway, I need a title that I feel like that about for this love project. And, like... love, like words, they have letters have feelings, they have pronunciations, they have visuals. You can, when you say the word love, can you guys see it? Do you see it? When I see the word love, it's very like, it's doughy. It's like the letters are like inflated balloons almost basically. And they're generally like almost like pastel colored or toned or whatever, but like I need a title that has love in. I need a title that has love in the title. And I'm gonna see if I can get Monica Padman to come on as one of the guests, which I think would really fucking set it off on this thing. But I need a title that has love in the title. I think it needs to be fewer than 4 words, so 1, 2, or 3 words, and it can't be love. On love is something that is, but it's like love is such a like bleh, that it needs to also have something that clicks with it. It's like, and we've thrown around like silly ones like like love and chattiness, like love and happiness, like Chad on love, because the name Chad also, if you don't even know who I am, it has such a like. Chad and the word love are almost like antithetical. Like a Chad is like a fucking broy ass dickhead who isn't in touch with himself, and the word love is like meant to be the opposite of those things. So we threw around some things like that, but like we just don't have the one that's just like zing, just like boom, like that's it. So all right, Morgan has some title ideas. Yeah. Morgan, I'm not usually like this, but I'm going to be my most like Simon from American Idol version of myself with these names. So please don't take it personally.
No worries. So, but can I tell you my thought process?
Yes.
Okay.
Go.
So my thought process was, okay, love. Like, what is synonymous? What do I think of when I think of love? And then also like what I think you like what your like interests are. So I think my last one is the best, but I'll start with like, okay. So the first one, Chemical Explosions with Chad Sanders because it's like, you know, endorphins going off when you're in love.
Okay, hold on. So I think that to be honest with you, I actually like that name, but I don't think it tells somebody what the show is enough.
Okay.
I need the name to be able to tell somebody what I don't even want to call it a show. It's a project. It's going to have multiple dimensions, but I need somebody to know what it is. They're not going to know exactly what it is, but like I need them to know enough of what they're walking into.
So this is good because I didn't know what your process was with titles.
Yes.
So I didn't know that you like titles that, because some people like titles that are super like ambiguous.
Yeah.
You're not that. So that kind of takes a couple of these
I'm
out.
going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you what. So it depends. Like I still want to hear the titles because we can still talk about them as words, but like, all right. So Black Magic was a title of a book that had a subtitle which told you exactly what it was. The title itself didn't tell you anything about it, but the combination between title, author, subtitle, you knew what you were walking into. Same for Direct Deposit. Direct Deposit was what happens when black people get rich. It's like the title is a zingy, and then the subtitle is this is what it is, and then like in my opinion, then you're in. Yearbook, I didn't come up with the yearbook title. I like the yearbook title because it works for the armchair expert audience. It's nostalgic, it's sweet, it's romantic, it's honest, it's things that America wants to believe that America is. So, there.
Okay. The other one is The Beat Skip.
Okay. Morgan, your face when you deliver these, you're like, okay, the beat skip, it takes me a second to know what that is. And it's like, okay, there's a Stephen King book called On Writing.
Yes.
Which I like because it is, one, because it tells you what it is, but also because the name is so dry, like it's like dry as a bone. But the author is Stephen King. So you know it's going to be like, you know it's going to have some juice, even though the name is so like dry. And anything that skews a little bit too cute for me, I am going to be out on for the name of this thing because it's already about love.
Right.
So the beat skip is a no for me.
Okay, fine.
How do you feel? How do you feel hearing no?
That's okay.
Okay.
Blindfolded. Kind of because like you don't know.
I kind of like that one.
Okay.
So I like the visual of that one. It doesn't have love in it, but
right. But love is like wearing a blindfold.
yeah, love is blind. It's kind of sexy too. Like I see people at like a party
you could
with
host an event where you wear
blindfolded.
blindfolds, like a speed dating thing.
All right, let's put an asterisk next to that one. I don't know.
Nice.
The other thing about this is this: if I'm asking people to, blindfolded, that's kind of hot. I like that.
Nice.
Good job, Morgan.
Thanks. Okay, I'll just give you one more because it's already
Blindfolded.
122. My last one, which I think is the best. Can we be termites?
What? Morgan, what does that mean?
Termites mate for life. They're insects that mate for life. And this one is so specific.
I'm not gonna lie, that's
like
perfect.
So
You guys know, you knew that about termites?
No, I'm thinking about your love of insects.
Yeah.
I do like insects.
So termites are the only like insects that mate for life. And so like, can we be termites? Like, I don't know.
Okay. I don't think it tells people what it is enough.
But it's educational because they could look up. It puts a little work on the audience member, sure, but it's educational.
Prospective audience member.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, though, is like, okay, a couple things. First of all, Morgan, never change. I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. When I have to market it, I'm trying to think about like how many times can can we be termites on my Instagram stories? How many times can I say it? How many times? And like when someone sees it for the first, like the title that I've actually been playing around with in my head is literally just Chad on Love. Like that's it. Because the name Chad is evocative. Like it means most people when they hear Chad, they're thinking of like a broy white guy with like spiked hair. And then love and those two things have this thing. So this thing. Do you know what that means?
No.
No. Okay. But you're like, contrast.
I felt like whatever was behind it. I was like,
Contrast is what I mean. They have like, there's a tension there between Chad and love, which, so annoying. Also, like, when you're on something, you're like on a drug. Like now Chad blindfolded is kind of interesting. Love, like I like blindfolded. The termites thing, I'm too visual with words. So like I literally see bugs and I'm like, that's gross. And I also got to think about like the audience that I expect to be the core audience of this. I am just judging on what my audience already is. I expect it's going to be like women between 28 and like 45. And I'm this 2024, but I don't know if they would love to keep having to think about termites over and over and over again.
that is a fair critique.
Thank you.
Can I remix something you said in
yeah,
this conversation?
please.
Because you said tension between Chad and love, and I was just like, that almost sounds like a title right there.
The tension between Chad and love.
Or tension between
Ooh.
Chad and love, or even just between Chad and love.
Ooh, Josh!
That's good.
Stole my thunder, damn.
The second one,
Yeah.
between Chad and
Also,
love.
I've titled like 5 podcasts for people.
Okay, well, I've never
Just-
titled anything.
Just saying.
So, between Chad and love is real good.
Just taking off of like you saying you wanted to keep it something simple like Chad on love, like I feel like that's a slightly more interesting remix to that.
Between Chad and love. It's got Between the World and Me vibes, but that Between the World and Me is so over there that it doesn't have any like.
Yeah.
And then the cover
lose
could be
anything.
you in a blindfold.
I like the blindfold.
I like
is
blindfolded
really
We
dope.
too,
can bring
though.
it
The
all
blindfold is
together.
really good. Yeah, I like that. Maybe it is. Maybe the title is all. It could be The Blindfold as well.
Or you have the conversations blindfolded.
No, that's good. I like that. The only problem with it is most of the conversation is going to be via Zoom. If they were in person, I think that would be it would have a cooler effect. It would be kind of weird if we're like on the Zoom call.
Yeah.
Because like we could just not, like, we could just do this on the phone. But okay, this has been an excellent creative session. Morgan, would you mind just writing down for me the blindfold, blindfolded, and Between Chad and Love? Those all have something
I'll send the invoice later.
to me. Yes.
Yeah, same.
Josh, Josh, you are 50% equity in the all revenue between now and February 14th.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay, I owe you guys both a name for something.
Do you want to do what a TikTok movie is really quick? We have like
Yeah, I do.
couple minutes.
Okay. I forgot if I stole this take from someone else, but sorry. Who did I hear this? No, I heard some version of this, but I'm about to use Josh's terminology. I'm about to remix it. Saltburn. We already talked about Saltburn.
Mm-hmm.
It's a movie that has a setup that I like, which is lower middle class dude around rich people wanting to be want to be on the inside of that culture. It is beautiful, like in terms of the spectacle of this movie is beautiful. I like the lighting, I like the color, I like the settings are gorgeous, the landscapes, all of it. I like the music. It's evocative of I think early 2000s or mid 2000s in a way that I like. I even like the actors in the movie. I really like some of the actors. Like I think the performances are as good as they could do with the script, which is where I think the problems were. I think that the story itself doesn't pull off what it's trying to pull off because I think it skews too far in the absurd in a way that doesn't feel honest to the character. That's all without spoiling what happens in the movie, but what this movie does do well, and I think you will see more movies. I'm going to be real. I think now when we come into this studio, Morgan and I have already talked about what do we want to be the real coming out of this episode. Like, which is to say, the last 2 days we've come in here, I have sent Morgan an image that I want to be cut into the reel that's going to be cut from this conversation before we've even cut the reel. I think we're going to see more and more movies that have decided, and movies have always done this, which is like what's on the poster. Like that's always been a part of like what movies get greenlit is how are we going to market this thing? But now the marketing of the movie, so much of it takes place in short form video, TikTok, Reels, YouTube Shorts, that some movies, and I believe honestly movies that are made by my generation and Gen Z and whatever comes after them, I think a lot more movies are going to feel like mashups of TikTok clips, mashups of moments that are within themselves eye-catching, provocative, maybe earwormy, and that's what Saltburn felt like to me. It just felt, instead of being a coherent story with a beginning, middle, and end that tells you what's going on, it's like all these moments, like Jacob Elordi was talking about the scene. He said it was fun to shoot this movie because it got so weird. Yeah. And my snarky response to Morgan was like, oh, how great for those 10 actors that it was fun for them to do the movie that wasn't awesome for the audience. But like, that's what you get when you get a budget, and I know this director to be the child of wealthy people. So when you are some kind of Lena Dunham-esque character, you get to focus on what do you like and what do your actors like, and not have to give a fuck about us. But what the movie became then was like, God, this is probably gonna be a good reel too, but I don't know if we have time. What the movie became was a mashup of moments, and that's what movies are going to look like more and more and more going forward. What are the pieces of this thing, especially coming off of Barbie and how crazy viral Barbie was as like social media content? So many more movies are that get greenlit. Like so many movies that people are willing to put budgets behind. It's going to be because the director has sold them on these are all the pieces of this movie that we can distribute as trailers for the movie. Said differently, here's all these little taste test samples we can give out for the movie to get people to watch the movie. That could go two directions because we give taste test samples for this show, right? We give Reels and TikToks and, YouTube clips and all these things. We give out free samples so people will come back and watch the show, which we can then monetize. However, at this point in time, the number of people who watch our Reels is, 100x the number of people that listen to the podcast. Mm-hmm. Once people watch NBA games by watching Twitter clips of NBA games. So you got to give somebody something really compelling in the taste test to get them to go take on the whole thing. Like I said, the other day I got a DM from somebody who was who wasn't even referenced on the show, but something a project that person is a big part of was referenced in one of the clips of the show online, and that person was reaching out, and the reference point was, I've been watching your podcast clips. So like the podcast clips are a show in and of themselves, just like this TikTok movie had all these little pieces of it that were TikTok movies in and of themselves. All right, enough. That's it. We're done. Thank you to this other studio. Can we get a quick pan of the room on camera?
Can I just do it on my phone?
Huh?
Or you want it on that camera?
I don't care.
You can move the camera if you want.
I think it might be better if you start on me and like.
I mean,
with the
camera.
Oh,
with this. Oh, okay.
Is she able to turn it?
Yeah, she could turn it.
Okay. With the handle, right?
Yeah, just turn it with the handle.
The rod.
The rod. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Chad.
Hold
No.
There we go.
Josh.
Oh, this would be cool. People need to see this.
And there's a wall. And then, I don't know, can it do 360?
Yeah, you can turn it all the way around. You can keep turning.
Get
Keep-
your
keep it
little
turning.
table with all this stuff.
Keep it turning.
This is where I was sitting with my computer, and that's it.
Yes, this is the temporary.
This is just today, or maybe today and Tuesday.
Maybe another week or two.
Okay, this is Nothing But Anarchy. It's been fun. Go listen to that Cat Williams interview or go watch it. It's really funny. It's really funny's not the word. It's like just like whoa. Yeah, that's it. Like, subscribe, share at Chad Sand on Instagram. If you want to DM me, DM Morgan. She is Moby Williams, MOBY Williams. Nobody's been listening to that instruction, have they? Not one person has
No,
DM'd
a
you.
couple people have.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, good. She is at Moby Williams on Instagram. MOBY Williams on Instagram. Okay. Goodbye.